Good morning and welcome back to the West Ham Network. Yes, it's the morning time and it's myself, Anton, bringing you some content today. Now, first question I'm going to ask you, which I should have done before I came on, was tested my mic. Can you hear me? Does it sound like I'm coming through the microphone? This is the key question I want to ask because it looks like it is, but I just want you all to confirm that as well. But hope you are all well and thank you very much for joining us today on the stream. But on the subject, which is the Antonio statement and is Coufal injured? Let me get into today's story and we'll start to digress it. Put the comments in. We'll go through some of the comments as we as much as we possibly can. It is a morning stream. I am working. I've taken a little break, so I thought I'd bring to you this video. I wanted to get it out to you as early as I possibly could today. So on September the 30th, Michail Antonio was named in the Jamaica squad for a trio of upcoming FIFA World Cup qualifiers, but the striker has opted to remain in England and with West Ham, which is good news, I believe, for all West Ham fans. Antonio only made his international debut in September, playing in a 3-0 defeat to Panama, and was expected to travel to North America once more to represent his nation. He released a statement on his call-up to the Jamaica squad for the October internationals, and it's great news for West Ham. Confusion had surrounded Antonio's call-up to Jamaica after West Ham did not acknowledge his selection in articles about the club's international players on their website. And David Moyes was facing up to his biggest Antonio worry yet during October international break. And as we all know, as West Ham fans, Antonio is the only club's recognised proper striker. And he has, of course, struggled with hamstring injuries over several years. The forward faced 3 games for Jamaica in just 6 days, and that would have meant he would have to embark on a 10,000-mile round trip after similar excursions during the September break. But in a statement, Antonio has confirmed he will not joining up with the Reggae Boys on this occasion. Undoubtedly a relief to West Ham fans and David Moyes. So let's take a look at the Antonio statement. He says, "I can confirm that unfortunately I'll not be joining up with the Jamaica national squad for the World Cup qualifying matches this week. Myself, West Ham United and Jamaica have all agreed that given the logistical and travel difficulties involved at present, it is better for me to remain with the club in London at this time. I remain fully committed to Jamaica and I look forward to representing my country in the future." So had the striker agreed to travel, he would have returned to England at the earliest on Thursday, October the 14th, after a grueling week away before West Ham returned to Premier League action on Sunday, October the 17th against Everton. Jamaica are playing massive catch-up in their World Cup qualifying campaign, and they have, you could say, really small chances and a hope of qualifying for Qatar 2022. They face the USA in Texas before taking on Canada at home and then are away to Honduras. But they'll have to make do with the main man up front, Antonio, who instead will get some welcome rest to be fresh for West Ham's jam-packed schedule when football resumes next weekend. Following the international break, and this is an interesting part now I want to talk to you about. So following the international break, West Ham are set to embark in a run of 7 matches in 21 days across 3 competitions: the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, and the Europa League. West Ham international players will then jet off again for their countries for a further 2 matches again during November before a jam-packed end to the domestic year. West Ham's current schedule from mid-November until January the 1st, 2022 sees West Ham face 12 matches in 42 days, a game on average every 3.5 days. And also, you need to add into the equation how far we move in competition. So depending on the result against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup, another match would be added to the schedule in December. And then, potentially, if we got through that round, a 2-legged semi-final on January the 3rd and 10th if West Ham were to progress past City into the and the quarter-final opponent and potentially move into the semi-finals. So, what do you think on the Antonio news? For me personally, I'm happy. I think it's a respectable. I think it's a clever, professional decision. I think they've respected the club, they've respected the country. But you know what? With the grueling fixture congestion list that we've got, we need to make sure that all these players are firing on all cylinders, and we all know what Antonio is capable of doing for the club. And the rest is massively needed. It's not even just the rest; it's the risk of the travel. And they always say if you travel long distances, it can start to mess with your blood. And if you're not, exercising on the plane, listen, I know he's a professional footballer, he's an athlete. I get that, but I think we're all concerned about these players, and whether or not they would be, okay enough to withstand it, let alone being Antonio at the age he is. And he's become such an important player for West Ham. So we want to protect him. I don't mind. I don't mind him. I genuinely said this beforehand. I don't mind him taking up international football. I have no problem with it. And for me, I'm just disappointed that England haven't recognised what he's done, but he's chosen, and that's fair play, good on him. And I have no problem with him doing it. Who are we to stand back and take someone away from international duty? It's just my concern was the 3 games in such a short space of time, traveling to the other side of the world and then coming back. I mean, that's just constantly throwing pressure onto Mikel Antonio. Let me come into the chat and see what everyone's thinking, and we'll go through to the next part of the story. Toby Spanner is in the house. Good to see you, mate. Thank you for joining us. Reese, good man. Good morning. Hope you are well. Toby Sampson, loving that Wednesday morning enthusiasm. Antonio. Yuha Lito, waves to fellow hammers and hammerettes. Hope you're well. We can't hear you on the wind up. I'm not still. I don't fall for it. You're sounding fine. You beautiful Scott. I'll take that. I can hear you like still moaning about mass. James Farmer, good to see you, mate. Thank you for joining us. Glad to see his priorities are with West Ham. Absolutely, mate. I think it is good. Garino, you're in the house. Good to see you. Reese again. RJS 100, 10,000 mile round trip. He isn't swimming it. No, he's not. But 3 games in 6 days in a potentially fixture congested West Ham schedule. The priority for us has got to be the West Ham. Garino, see all the big guns are in the chat this morning with our spanners out and ready. Absolutely. GP says, doesn't this just think Antonio should be able to play for Jamaica? Shows how loyal Antonio is, but how cruel the board and even Moyes is. The lad is 30, last chance of a World Cup. Do you see? I totally believe that Antonio wants to play, but because there is 3 games in 6 days and it is grueling, and I reckon after the last time he did the travel, he felt it. I definitely think he felt it. Now, I don't think he's not committed to the Jamaica squad, but I think that they'll be using their they maybe aren't qualifying, and they maybe not. I think they've got to be clever with this, and if this is how they're going to manage Antonio, then I'd rather them manage Antonio this way than not manage him at all and let him go and do what he wants to do. Peter Singh, 7 matches in 21 days reminds me of the 85-86 season. And you're right, mate. And the funny thing is, you get some of these ex-pros on, which we have had on the channel, and they consistently talk about how players back in the day could have easily coped with that amount of games, no problem at all. My only comparison would be that players now are more like athletes, and they have to be trained like athletes. And I don't think they can. Their bodies, the way that they're trained, especially particular players potentially like Antonio, because it's like pure muscle, beast mode, pure muscle, that we have to actually manage him. Absolutely. James Farmer, my son has 7 matches in 9 days, overpaid passes. It's so bloody true. But I do think there is that element of athleticism, Toby, I don't think so, GP. It's just not just traveling the distance. It's traveling the distance while COVID complications still linger. He's not going because he's loyal to us, just not disloyal to Jamaica. But yeah, I believe that. Absolutely, 100%. GP saying, fair point. I just don't hope our lack of backup striker affects him. It's 100% bullshit that there isn't another striker that we could have bought. I think we all feel that same, but again, it falls on the trust in Moyes. And let's hope we can get to the January transfer window. We're doing all right in the league. We're doing okay in the Europa League. We're doing okay in the Carabao Cup. And we've brought in Rob Newman now, who can hopefully make a difference. And I think it will make a difference. And I think we'll get there, and hopefully we'll bring the right player in that we need. Carino, we've already have tired players. Adding the number of matches Antonio would have to play, plus the air miles and all the hassle with COVID, etc. Then I can understand the decision to play and stay behind. And I completely agree with you, mate, 100%. Patrick Walsh, good morning, good news. Finally, some rest for some. Well, we're going to talk about another player in a second, which you'll see in the title. The issue is getting someone that's not useless, that would happily play second fiddle. Maybe we'll sign someone in January. and Edouard wasn't sometime in January, and Edouard was an option, maybe. Are you saying he was an option, the boy that's gone to Crystal Palace? I don't know if that's what you're meaning, Toby. Morning, Mighty Hammers. Lee, thank you for joining us. Are you relation to Rob, the new guy? Do you have the inside knowledge? Please let us know. Hi, Anton. How are you? Gaza. I'm good, mate. Thank you very much for joining us. RGS, it's West Ham's fault, Anton. You say the one and only striker, respectfully. MA isn't even that. We should have. No, I know he's not, but he has now turned into that one and only striker. I know he's not the recognized, I know he's not a natural born striker, but we can't pull away from the fact that this guy is one of the most informed number nines in the country. So, he's transitioned and he is now a striker. And teams would be looking at, if Antonio was younger and he was potentially going to leave, teams would be looking at him and say, I'm going to sign this striker. And it's Antonio. It's not, I'm going to sign a right back who's now transitioned. I'm going to sign a midfielder who's now transitioned. He is a striker, 100%. Loads of you talking to each other. Kent, purely selfish club reasons. I also hope Deck and Thomas don't play too much for international teams as they look tired. And I can see that. I mean, we've got players left, right, and centre going out on international duty. I know Russ done a show yesterday talking about all our players that are going out on international duty. So, yeah, I think selfishly, for the love and care for West Ham and our season and how important it is for West Ham to progress, of course, we can't hold these players back. I get it. But it would be good that they didn't have as much game time as they may have. Now, I know I'm going to talk about Coufal in a minute, but I know that players like Coufal and Souček and Kroll will always take up the option because it's their homeland. They'll probably get an opportunity to see people, see family, go home. There's probably no harm in that. But I would be worried if these players, like in particular Souček, was to play every single game for the Czech Republic whilst away on international duty, because he does definitely need a rest. And this 2-week break could be the rest that he absolutely needs. Waiting for Anton to mention his thighs, mate. I love a bunch of thighs, don't I? Toby, even if we had another striker, he still wouldn't have gone, lads. He wants to play in the games we've got. There's nobody to blame but circumstance. I absolutely do believe that. Yeah, I meant from what I've seen from Edouard, he could have been a good deputy to Antonio. I said that. I think he would have been, but there's obviously something there that. I mean, he's got a history, Toby, though. Like, I don't watch a lot of Scottish football, but I listen to people commentate, and because obviously we were interested in him, I did try to keep a keen eye on him, and I always thought, what's the situation here at Celtic? And apparently he's really lazy, apparently, according to Celtic fans and things like that. He's a really lazy footballer. But would you accept a lazy footballer to then go up and score goals? But would that have effect on the rest of the team? So I don't know if he really would have fitted that. Huge. Antonio Coufal not playing in the up-and-coming internationals is fantastic news for us. And we'll go on to that in a second. Actually, shall we just go into the news now that we all know about Vladimir Coufal? And it's understandable because we were all wondering why Coufal wasn't performing to the best of his abilities, maybe in the Brentford game and maybe in a few of the other games before. But he is going to miss the Czech Republic's up-and-coming 2022 World Cup qualifying matches against Wales and Belarus due to a minor groin injury. Let me just get a cheeky image of him up there. The 29-year-old right back reported for national team duty and was to be assessed by the Czech Republic's medical staff, but has now been withdrawn from their squad and will return to London. Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to take that. I didn't realize I left that comment up. I'll take that one down. For rest and treatment and under the care of West Ham, of course. So West Ham's head of medical, Richard Collini, said Vladimir has a slight groin injury that has caused him some discomfort. So both himself, ourselves, and the Czech Republic medical team agreed that it'd be beneficial for him to get some rest during this period, and will manage his recovery carefully with a view to him being available for selection again as soon as possible. So he did put in a poor performance for West Ham against Brentford on Sunday, but he has been a fantastic servant to our club since joining the club this time last year from Slavia Prague. He's been a fantastic player for us. So people are always panicking and worrying, saying that, not people, not everyone. Let me just put this right now. I have seen some, very minimal, some people saying, let's hope that Coufal and Souček are not one-season wonders. I mean, that's a ridiculous statement. We know Souček is not. And we believe Coufal is not going to be either. The situation is that they've played a lot of games. And I think Coufal was not expected to, well, he wasn't expected to play the League Cup game against Manchester United, but then Fredericks picked up an injury and Coufal came on the park for him. So he had game time. He had, I think, 75 minutes or something he had to play, and that probably didn't help his recovery plan. And I think these players, and everyone goes on about saying these players should be able to play 2, 3, 4 games, whatever it is, in such short space of times, but they all have recovery plans now, and they need to follow their recovery plans. If things come away from that recovery plan, then we need to rely on other players. This is why I was really surprised we didn't see Ben Johnson play against Brentford. I think that these teams have saw the weakness that Coufal has offered to West Ham. He's not been at the best of his performances. Manchester United in the Premier League, Manchester United targeted that side where Coufal was, and he was struggling the whole game. He wasn't getting the regular support he was used to on the right-hand side, but he was struggling down that right-hand side. He played game time at Brentford, and he really probably shouldn't. Sorry, in the League Cup against Manchester United, and really shouldn't have. He played against Leeds, and again, he was just tired and lackadaisical, and the same against Brentford. So this is the rest that he needs, and it's and as much as it's detrimental to international sides and international countries, as a West Ham fan, I'm happy that he is not going to be playing for his international side. The same goes with Antonio. Let me jump into the comments and see what you are all saying. Just need to find an excuse for Souček now. I mean, he's not been firing all cylinders. I get that he's not. I just don't know. I've heard people say. I've heard Still say things like, "Why has Souček struggled with Antonio Rice going further forward and Souček's got to sit?" Well, I don't know if he's struggled. I think he does. His work rate is really up there as a footballer for West Ham, but I think that there's just been a change in the side and the dynamics, and it's going to take time for the both to adjust. And that's probably why we've seen not seen Souček score so many goals so far this season, what we did comparison to last season. But I still think we're fine with Souček. I think he is going to get a relevant rest when needed. I'm going to trust the faith, put the faith into Moyes. I was a bit disappointed I didn't see, say, Krul come off the bench against Brentford, because I felt like that was the only substitution in the second half that would have given us extra legs in that midfield, because we were progressing, we had momentum. I wouldn't have really wanted to see any other substitutes, but yeah, I hope things will be okay. Gaza, it's also bringing in a striker prepared to sit on the bench behind Antonio. Yes and no, though, because the amount of games we've got potentially to play, I see how 2 strikers could fit into this team, and it's vice versa. I think you can see as fans how Krul can fit into this team, because there's been people calling for Krul to play, but that doesn't mean that Krul's going to come in and Souček is going to be dropped, because there's so many games that they can all play that they can all get game time. So I think there's option there to bring in someone who's willing to challenge. I don't think Moyes is looking at players to sit on the bench. I think Moyes is looking at players to challenge, and I think that's the right attitude to have. You absolutely have to have that attitude. Where are we? Toby is like what he's talking about. Gaza, Souček has been the same. I would give Krul a go. Yeah, absolutely. But it depends on the game time. See, the thing is, if Souček doesn't play a lot of game time over the next 2 weeks, I think Souček will still start the Premier League games. But what you might see now is Krul start to step into the Europa League games. I think after the performance that Souček gave against Vienna, I do think we will see Krul. So I'm not stressing about that. Yorgos Tsitsiparas, oi from Greece. Do you think in January we're going to take a striker? I do. I believe it. But that's only if there's one available that they want. Absolutely. Gaza, what's happened to our set pieces? Not scored a goal from a set piece this season, but it's going to come. It is going to come. So have the faith in it. RJS 100. Johnson is good enough. Play him. I agree. I completely agree with you. You know, I've seen some statements from people saying that Johnson had a rubbish game when he played at left back against Manchester United. I was really, really shocked at that, for loads of factors, and not solely for this factor. Yes, he was playing out of position, but I thought he got forward really well. He tracked back really well. He tackled really well. He maybe gave the ball away once or twice, but that was it. And by far, there was more players in that game against Manchester United in the League Cup who gave away the ball more. So for me, Johnson, who plays on the right-hand side, is more than capable of doing it. And you don't get Young Hammer of the Year for nothing, you know, especially when you've been playing in the first team for such a long time. GP, I would rather Souček go forward rather than Deck. Well, we'll see. We'll see what they do, see what they're capable of doing. moving forward. Reece, I was married, didn't bring on Crawl on. He was warming up since the 20th minute. I just think that was the substitution that West Ham needed, that maybe would have carried the legs forward and maybe would have been first to the ball should Fabianski parry the ball out and the ball fell to that Wissa from Brentford. You know, I think it was fresh legs. I think we desperately needed fresh legs in the middle of the park. We were doing the match day live and I seen people saying, I think I would have liked to have had a forward player come on, Lanzini, Yarmolenko, players like that, Vlasic, all that sort of stuff to come on off the bench and try to make a difference to score a goal. But I don't think we needed that. I think we were attacking really well. It was the legs in the midfield that I wanted to shore up, and I think there was a chance there for Crawl, but it never happened. So hey ho, they should take it in turns based on opportunity to do so rather than have a fixed role. Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing is with that though, Garino, is Rice is going forward. Like, I don't know if they're sitting there in the game going, I think he's just eager to get forward, absolutely eager. But I can't blame West Ham's last two defeats, or defeat against Manchester United and defeat against Brentford, on Souček at all. It's not about the blame. The blame could fall further back to the defence, and I think genuinely, Moyes will be going through the roof with the defenders. Toby, me too. GP, if Deck starts scoring like Souček did, someone will definitely bid 100 million for him. It worked better that way around last year. Gaza, when a player is not doing it on the pitch, you have to change it. RJS 100, bring in striker to replace, challenge Mikel Antonio not to sit on his Aris. I completely agree, mate. I completely agree. Thunder and Joy, I would rather Souček go forward because now our midfield looks like it's always overran. The thing is, Declan Rice is a natural born defender. He grew up in the youth ranks as a centre back, and he's a very good defender. And I genuinely believe his best role. I like him getting forward. I like when Declan Rice gets the ball and carries it. I like that. I do. I think that adds really strong value to West Ham. But I'm not bothered about Declan Rice being forward at every opportunity. So I don't mind if he starts to sit back and do the protecting in front of the back four. Again, 100%. Let me see here. Johnson is more comfortable at right back. Nobody's challenging Antonio unless they cost about 70 million. Reese, I think we're playing well because the players are playing for the name on the front of the shirt rather than the back. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Thunder and Joy, 100%. You'll have to spend big money to sit Antonio on the bench. And Mandy G saying, if Crawl plays a certain amount of games, are we obligated then to buy him? I believe there is a clause in his contract to come. And I don't doubt for a second that Crawl's coming anyway, Mandy, to be honest. I think something drastically bad was to happen, and that's why he wouldn't sign. But I think he will sign. Toby, you make a valid point here. I find that Rice gets himself into position and sometimes has an option to shoot. And a couple of seasons ago, he would have shot. But I think he's become so accustomed to carrying the ball that he's tempted to keep going. And if you think about the goal against Vienna, when the ball came over the top from Yarmolenko, Antonio chested it down and found Rice in the 6-yard box. That's a position Rice never, ever, we rarely saw him in that position unless it was a corner. So we'll see. GP, Deck getting forward is only good for Man United, in my opinion, and everyone seems to think he can be a Gerrard. Toby, he's got a harder shot on him than Antonio. Do you remember the times he used to like taking a run up for a free kick and smashing the ball towards goal? So hey ho, we'll see what happens. Anyway, the good news today is that Antonio is not going to be traveling 10,000 mile round trip for Jamaica to play in their qualifiers. So he'll be, hopefully, touch wood, rested, training up with West Ham, rested, not going to have jet lag and not playing 6 games in such a short space of time. Coufal is going to be back with West Ham resting, sorting out his groin injury. Touch wood, he'll be okay as well, and he'll kind of find form when he comes back. And it's just now relying heavily on seeing what the other international players doing, and hopefully they can bounce back from the international duty and come. And like I said in the chat, with the amount of games West Ham have got coming up, let me just reiterate the amount of games West Ham do. So following the international break, West Ham are set to embark on a run of 7 matches in 21 days across the Premier League, Carabao Cup and Europa League. West Ham international players will then jet off again, which is this annoying thing about internationals. It's like, I don't know if you all seen the Arsene Wenger statement where he said he should play internationals in 1 month and kind of have them over and done with. And I just wonder if there totally makes a lot of sense in that. I think that would probably be a lot better. And do you know what? Probably be a little bit more exciting as a fan watching international football. I definitely think that would be good. where are we? So it depends on all the competition. So we've got them going away again at some point in November before coming back for a jam-packed end of the domestic year. So our current schedule from mid-November until January the 1st, 2022 sees West Ham face 12 matches in 42 days, a game on average in every 3.5 days. And again, that's depending on the result against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup, because another game would then get added into December. And then if we get through that, a two-legged semi-final would be added in early January. Now, I'm not bothered and I'm not moaning about fixture congestion. I'm not. I'm a West. Listen, I was worried about it, but as Moyes is convincing me this is the right thing to do. And he has. I don't know if you watch his press conferences, but he absolutely convinces me. I want West Ham to play European football. I want 2 games a week, because if you're playing 2 games a week, you're qualifying for European football. So that is something that we've got to contend with. All teams do it. It just means we're transitioning. We are transitioning. And that is the difference between a club who can transition to not transition. This is why I think we'll be in the transfer market and we'll bring players in who are right, especially when Rob Newman's coming in now. So he'll be working hard right now, absolutely 1,000,000%, with 2 months to go to the window opens, to see who we can bring in. Anyway, let me jump through the last bits of comments. Cheers for the brunch show. Enjoyed it, mate. Thank you very much, Toby. Garino, by the time Rice gets the opportunity to shoot, he's usually knackered after having to run the length of the pitch. I never really see him being knackered though. Groin, Garino, to be honest. Groin. Oh my God, I'm going to get slagged off now. Thighs, groins, thighs. Have a good day, everyone. Toby, you too, Toby. Cheers for the show. No worries, GP. RJS 100. You're groin thigh obsessed. I am, mate. I am. Listen, thank you for joining us. If you are new around here, please subscribe. Please leave a comment. Please hit the thumbs up. It really does help our channel out. I think there's a My Hammers 11 going out at 12:30 this afternoon. And later on tonight, there is a live My Hammers 11 with Russ. DJ Russie B is interviewing former West Ham player Rob Hall. Go and check it out. It's going to be live. It's going to be cool, and engage with the chat, and you'll be able to ask live questions and get responded to from an ex-West Ham player, which is what we do at the network. We bring the players to you, connect you to the players, and it's all things gravy. Now, there is one more thing, hopefully, I can bring to your attention. Let me just see if I can find it here. Yes, there is. So, of course, you heard the news that we are partnering up, as we always have done, with the Supporters Club. But look at this. Love it. Love it. And there's more of that to come. So we're going to try and bring as many of the pros to you as we possibly can. So make sure you join DJ Russie B later on. I think it's at 9:30 tonight. Check it. It'll come up on the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to get a good chance of talking to all these players. And this is what it's all about, 100%. So listen, thank you very much for joining us. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like and comment, and check out the memberships if you want. I've been Anton. This is the West Ham Network, and come on, you Irons.